welcome back. Having been in close proximity to war and conflict for so many years, residents of Sri Lanka's border villages have suffered a great deal. Chief amongst them are children, whose education has been erratic at best and completely disrupted at worst in recent years. I spoke with Ashoka Fellow Nandasiri Wanninayaka about his work in promoting English and computer skills in border villages and about his vision of pushing Sri Lanka's rural communities into the technological age. Hi, Mr. Wanninayaka. Thanks for joining me on the program. Now, most of your work has centered around bringing knowledge of IT and English to your village, Mahavilachya, which is a border village. Now, to begin with, can you just tell our audiences how is the situation in a border village different to that of a typical rural village in the country?
Well, this term of border village, which does not exist anymore, had a very big meaning 10 years back. When I started this program in 1998, it was almost cut off from rest of the country. The road was in a very bad shape, and we didn't have any communication with the outside world because there was no telephone lines. Newspapers didn't come to the village. Even to take a photocopy, you have to go to the nearest city, which was like 40 kilometers away from from our village to Anuradhapura. So it was very difficult to do anything. It was a lonely village. So to educate the students did not have much options. They had the government schools, and if there is a teacher for English, they could learn. But most of the time, they didn't have sufficient teachers, and there was any computers in the village. So during that time, I had to introduce computers to the village to teach English.
Well, now that the war is over, do you think there's much more room for improvement? What do you think will happen to what were border villages before?
Yeah, of course. Now this is exactly what I want to do. In Mahavilachya, for the last 10 years, we have done a lot of experiments with the computers. With one computer we started. Today we have a very good computer lab with like 20 computers, and if the same model can be replicated elsewhere, it could be done by the government or by the NGO sector, by the private public partnerships. This model can be replicated anywhere in Sri Lanka because this was started under a tree without anything. So this is easy to replicate elsewhere. And if you take this to the villages in north and east, which were deprived of this knowledge for last 20 to 30 years, I am sure those young people there will not resort to a gun anymore if they are given a computer mouse.
So now, do you have any way of tracking your progress in terms of what you've brought to these children in your village?
The students in the village now are getting A passes for their English, that is their second language, whereas they get a B or C pass for their own language, because English is not a difficult subject anymore. They love it, and they have made it their first priority, and they don't do much cram into pass English as well. Some are doing courses in private firms to become graduates. Some are already working in private firms in computer field, and we have started Sri Lanka's first rural BPO company in Mahavilachya, and we could bring a lot of technology to Mahavilachya. Mahavilachya was connected to internet in 2004. That was the first rural village to connect to the internet without any support from the government. We could raise the funds, we could erect a tower, and we could provide internet to the village. There was no even telephone lines those days. Now, everywhere in the village, you get internet access. This is the first Sri Lankan village to use mesh technology. Now, if you take a laptop to Mahavilachya, you can access internet without using any wires.
Lastly, you mentioned earlier that you were learning computers by night and teaching your students by day. So your passion for teaching has gone alongside your own education. So can you tell me what your most important learning experience has been up to date?
You have to promote more education opportunities outside the university. So this is I want to do. The virtual university concept, which is in the West, e-learning, those things should be brought to Sri Lanka. There are programs that is already happening, but those are not affordable for the children in the village. So if you have that access to the students who get very good marks at A level, still don't have the luck to enter university, those students are the vulnerable. JVP insurrections and even with the LTT insurrections, what happened was all these people used this vulnerable youth group for their aims. So if we can have some program to use these students for the benefit of the country, that will help the whole country and those young people as well.